Hello again, thanks for joining. Today I've got this old East German locomotive to have a look at. This is from VEB Eisenbahn-Modellbau Zwichau. I think that's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered that. I'm not very good at German. And you would think that this is a BR75 steam locomotive because that's what's on the box, but it actually isn't. The end of the box gives very little clue because the actual writing here is almost completely faded away. But you can see it says EM15. And on this side of the box you can see that EM15 relates to this little diesel shunter. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this word here because I'll just get it completely wrong, but you can read it yourself. So I'm quite looking forward to getting this out of the box and having a look. So let's open it up. So we do have some instructions in here. Incredibly, these have survived as well. This is obviously in German, but we do have an English version. And it is quite authoritarian here. It's saying to be read and followed carefully before operating. It has these instructions here. Now, I'm from the UK and we never read instructions, so I'm not going to bother. One of the things that I found quite interesting on the back here is that it looks as though it's actually also written in Russian here as well. And then you have some details here about the location where this model was made, and it looks as though it was made in East Berlin. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Anyway, let's have a look at the model. And here is the model, and what a cute little boxy thing this is. It's pretty obvious that the decoration on this is quite crude already, even before I've brought it up close to the camera. But let's have a look in more detail. So starting at the front of the locomotive, what it looks like here is that we're possibly missing this little jewel on the light at the other side here, and it's just silver, and this one's still got the jewel in it. That's a bit of a shame. I'm going to see if I can try and get another replacement one of those. I do actually really love this effect of having these jewels in here. It really makes the lights look as though they're on, even though they're not. Got another light up at the top here of the bonnet, which has just been painted in silver, and as has the grille here been painted with some silver as well. Not very well done, some of it's wearing away at the corners here, but it is quite incredible that that has actually been done from the factory. Down on the buffer beam we've got this really nice chevron effect in red and cream. It's not that well applied either. You can see down here, for example, it doesn't go all the way to the edge. And also we seem to have some damage underneath here as well. But we do have some very nice metal buffers here with some interesting clip-on surround parts. I don't think that's prototypical. And we have these little handrails here which are also made of metal, so they're going to be able to take a few bashes as well. And the coupling here is also made of metal. It's quite a simple thing and it just hangs out the front there, and it's attached with this screw as well, which also holds the bottom plate on, which is also made of metal. So looking down the side of this locomotive, these little doors have been moulded very nicely into the main piece of plastic, and there's a handrail going along here which has been picked out in silver, just part of the main piece of moulding. These white stripes have been really quite badly applied down the side here. They're really blotchy and very glossy as well. It has some steps coming up here and just a little bit of decoration on the side here. I think this is just meant to be reinforcement ribs, not actually pipework. And then when we come to the cab, there's no glazing at all, and you can see straight inside that there's a huge big motor there as well. I think this one might have got a little bit of damage just here in the corner, so that's been broken off in the past. It's a shame. We've got these handrails here, which again have been picked out in silver. They've been actually quite nicely moulded in here, but they're not made out of wire or anything. It's just part of the main piece of plastic. Again, we've got steps coming down which are part of the chassis. Another piece of plastic under here, and now this has got some nice details of the springs and the axle boxes, but you can see that this moves around as well though, so that's not very realistic. At the back of this locomotive we've got 3 indication of lights, but they're just domed parts of the moulding and they're picked out in silver. Quite well done actually, I have to say. Another handrail going across here and another bit of this white paint stripe here which has been very badly applied as well. Another buffer beam with chevrons down the bottom and these really strange metal buffers and coupling applied as well. Looking underneath, it's just got 2 axles, very simple model, and up on top we've got a really nasty moulding mark all the way along the top of the bonnet and a screw holding this model together along with this, which I think is maybe meant to be a chimney or something, but no marks on top of the cab here. So it's quite a crude model, but it does look quite interesting. I think we should put this on the test track first and see how it runs. So here we have it on the test track. Now I'm just using my old H&M controller to give this some power. Not had it running before, so let's give it some juice and see what happens. So that was quite incredible. At the start it just stuttered a little bit to get going, But once it did, it was no problem at all, and it just crawls along at a really slow speed. Even if you put a lot of power into this, it doesn't really go that fast, but that's prototypical, I guess. It is a bit noisy, and it actually really smells as well. It's got a really strange metallic smell to it. Anyway, I think we should open this up and have a look at the mechanism inside. So it's quite an interesting design of Locomotive, this one. Having a look in here at the gearbox, we see we've got all metal construction here, which is amazingly good. And there's a lot of cogs here, which is obviously making this drive really quite slow. The motor is quite large up here, and the whole chassis is made of metal. You can see that this is tarnishing a little bit with age. And there's simple pickups here just running on the surface of the wheels. It's quite heavy for the size of Locomotive. It's probably because this is all made of metal and you can see some additional weights inside. While I've got this apart, I think I'll just apply a little bit of oil onto these gears here just to help them a little bit. Well, it certainly runs very smoothly, but it's quite noisy still. I'm not sure that's going to be solved just with a little bit of oil, but I think it runs fine anyway. And it's quite characterful that it is quite so noisy. And that smell as well, I guess it's the smell of East Germany. I don't know. I've never smelled it before in a locomotive, but it's quite interesting. And these side parts here just seem to slot onto the side of the locomotive here, and there's nothing actually holding them there apart from these little slots. And I'm wondering whether just a little bit of glue might help that. Okay, we're all back together. Some of those screws were not wanting to go into the socket at all, but we got there in the end. Let's put this on the scales, we'll see how much it weighs. So this little shunter weighs 153 grams. So this little East German shunting locomotive has got bags of appeal to it. It's such a characterful, interesting locomotive, and the fact that it still runs after all these years is also very cool. There's clearly some limitations here. The paintwork is absolutely terrible, and the moulding certainly isn't the most detailed. It doesn't have any glazing either, and it's got that huge motor in the cab, so there's not much option to put in a driver or anything like that, but you could put some glazing on it at least. But the appeal in this model is its vintage charm. It's from an era that's now long gone, but it does have some things which are really cool, like the gearing is all metal. I think it will run forever. And also the parts which normally break off on a model are all made of metal in here, like the buffers and the little handrails. The cab does have a bit of damage on it, so I think it's had a bit of a hard life. But then this model is getting on a bit now, yet it's still a testament to the build quality of the East German model railway manufacturing of the time. I think this is a really appealing model. I've never seen one like this before, but for me this is definitely a keeper, and I hope you enjoyed seeing this model with me today. Let me know what you thought about my analysis in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel grow. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See ya.